Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tech for Senior. I'm Ron Brown. I'll be your host today. This is the 23rd of October. Where is the time going? 2023. Thank you for coming. We really do appreciate you. It's your support and coming each week that gives us our enthusiasm to keep making the videos and producing the shows. I'll introduce all our staff in just a minute. But I want to just remind everybody that we actually have two shows. We not only have our main show today, followed by the premiere service that we have afterwards, but we also have a show on Thursday, which is, of course, where we go over the news of the week. Just to let everyone know, we still have people logging into our Zoom account. This is a Zoom account. You've all logged in, and we broadcast that out to YouTube. But our Thursday show is not a Zoom account. We broadcast it through StreamYard, and it goes out to our Facebook page or YouTube. And if you want to find out how to get there, you can just on our website you can click the button, and it says take you to the show. Have we got someone?
I'm just looking for them now.
I
took care of it.
Okay, thanks a lot. So there we go. And so we have we have a great show for you today. We're going to start with, of course, Bob is going to do his security news update and talk also about the snipping tool. We have a special guest today. We have an international celebrity. Greg is here, of course, to talk about fire alarms or smoke alarms, actually, and I'll be introducing him in a moment. I'm going to talk on part 2 about heart problems and your smartwatch. This will be the second part of the video. You saw the first part last week. And then I also have I always get asked what would I recommend for a smartwatch, and I'm going to give you a little 5-minute summary of what I would recommend as of today. But I'll do that in the Q&A afterwards. So if you have to, you might want to stick around and listen to that. And then, of course, Huey's going to talk about how to reset your iPhone and a Google Voice guide. So he's got some good information for us there. And of course, Ray has his toe tapping music. And then we'll have our premiere event, which of course is our premiere video. And this week, you will definitely want to listen to this. Ray's going to explain all about USB-C. And then I'm going to talk about if you're traveling and you're a snowbird, any snowbirds in the group, anybody traveling this winter, you'll definitely want to watch the video I made on what to do before leaving if you're a snowbird. And then, of course, Huey's going to talk about how to add a streaming service to your TV. And I was reading in the news this morning about this is the year where cable TV is going to die. So you may want to pay attention to Huey's talk, because you're going to be making some switches pretty soon. So that is on our premium service for us. So let me introduce everybody today. Huey, how's your day going? I'm going to just remove the spotlight here on me. How's your week going? What's happening with you?
Well, quick trip to the doctor's office this morning, and just to draw some blood so they can figure out if there's anything going on. Right now, things are doing good. I got through my 8 weeks of a bad cold and getting ready to do a big presentation, hour-long presentation for STUG on the 1st. It's the first Wednesday of the month, which is the 1st. I'm going to do it on AI, and I'm going to do it a little bit different than I've done. And I've seen some of the presentations. It's going to be just a couple of minutes on what AI is, and then I'm going to show examples of all the different types of tools that I've been using, and I'm going to mostly show free tools. That's coming up on the 1st. So
listen, just before I finish introducing everybody, I understand that we have a group of learned wise men here, our staff, that you and Ray and Bob and Greg, and I know that they're all there, and I know you're all using AI. So I have a question for everybody, and you don't have to answer it right now, but you probably noticed that in my video I made last week, I made reference to the fact that I made all the pictures on it in using AI. I just said, make a picture of a doctor, boom, and it made a picture of a doctor for me. Pretty cool stuff, right? So as you remember, last Tuesday in the newsletter, I was listening to a YouTube video, and it was on happiness as a senior. And I put in and so I did share that experience in the newsletter. And so I thought, well, I want a picture of a senior being happy that I could put in the newsletter. So here's the question for you guys. I typed in, I want a picture, and I took happiness as a senior, and I got 4 pictures of women. So I then thought, well, hold on, men can be happy in retirement too, right? So then I did it a second time with AI, and I thought there must be some bias, and I got 4 more women. And so then I did it a third time, and the same thing happened. So Hewie, can you explain, or any of the learned people here explain, if men cannot be happy in retirement?
We probably aren't.
It's a simple fact. Women outlive men. Therefore, they inherit whatever the guy's got. If he's got anything, that makes them happy. So that's why you get.
Anyway, that was my AI experience. So Bob, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
You're doing okay? That's
finally
great.
over everything. I also went for blood work this morning. I got there were 30 people online. I said, no, you don't need my blood that bad. I turned around and came right back home.
And Ray, you're back in the saddle now. Your holiday is over, and you're working hard.
Finally catching up. In response to the last question about the AI and only showing women, I still live by the phrase, happy wife, happy life.
All right, there you go. And Greg, do you have any comments on that? Sorry, unmute yourself.
No, my wife is really happy with me right now.
So you don't want to
right now.
All right, then. So there you go. I want to thank, now we had a donation this week from Byron Nate. I want to thank Byron for that. And if anybody, as you're watching our videos, if you like them, we have a link in all our videos and all our online services that you can help make a donation to our show. Our expenses keep going, and we always need help paying the bills. So I want to thank Byron Nate for his very generous donation. Bob, are you ready to roll?
I hope so. Here is my security news roundup for the week ending October 20th, 2023. FCC has a new plan to stop robocalls. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission signed an agreement with Singapore regulators to work together to crack down on robocalls conducted internationally. This partnership will allow the FCC and IMDA to share strategic insight on scams to better combat the growing and evasive threat of such scams and mitigate the risk facing citizens and businesses stemming from fraudulent activities. FCC Chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel and Chief Executive of IMDA, Liu Chiang-hong, signed the document at a ceremony in Washington, D.C. on October 11th. Read more at cordcutternews.com. Update: 23andMe user data stolen, now offered for sale. On Friday, October 6, 2023, 23andMe confirmed via a somewhat opaque blog post that threat actors had obtained information from certain accounts, as many as 7 million, including information about users' DNA relatives profiles. It seems the attackers didn't simply steal the data belonging to the accounts they broke into. They used those accounts to access a much larger trove of data via DNA relatives. According to Bleeping Computer, the number of accounts sold by the cyber criminals does not reflect the number of 23andMe accounts breached. Read more at malwarebytes.com. Ruling paves way for teens to sue companies for social media addiction. Los Angeles County Judge Carolyn Kuhl dismissed most claims brought by minors or parents of minors against social media platforms, according to Bloomberg. However, the judge ruled that Meta, Snapchat, TikTok, and Google couldn't use the Communications Decency Act's Section 230 or the First Amendment to block claims that they created their platforms to be addictive to youth, causing depression and other issues. The judge also paved the way for plaintiffs to proceed with claims that Meta knew about its platform's defects, yet didn't share that information with users. Read more at AndroidAuthority.com. Google Play Protect introduces real-time code-level scanning for Android malware. Google Play Protect will now recommend a real-time app scan when installing apps that have never been scanned before to help detect emerging threats, the tech giant said. Google Play Protect is a built-in free threat detection service that scans Android devices for any potentially harmful apps downloaded from the Play Store, as well as other external sources. In extreme cases, an app may be blocked from being installed. This enhancement will help better protect users against malicious polymorphic apps that leverage various methods, such as AI, to be altered to avoid detection. Google said, adding that the feature is being rolled out in select countries, starting with India. Read more at thehackernews.com. Lazarus Group targeting defense experts with fake interviews via Trojanized VNC apps. The North Korean-linked Lazarus Group, also known as Hidden Cobra or ℉𝕉𝕗, has been observed using Trojanized versions of virtual network computing VNC apps as lures to target the defense industry and nuclear engineers as part of a long-running campaign known as Operation Dream Job. The threat actor tricks job seekers on social media into opening malicious apps for fake job interviews, Kaspersky said in its APT Trends report for Q3 2023. Lazarus Group is just one of the many offensive programs originating from North Korea that have been linked to cyber espionage and financially motivated thefts. Read more at thehackernews.com. U.S. DOJ cracks down on North Korean IT scammers defrauding global businesses. The U.S. government has announced the seizure of 17 website domains used by North Korean information technology workers as part of an illicit scheme to defraud businesses across the world, evade sanctions, and fund the country's ballistic missile program. The Department of Justice said the U.S. confiscated approximately $1.5 million of the revenue that these IT workers collected from unwitting victims using the deceptive scheme in October 2022 and January 2023. It also called out North Korea for flooding the global marketplace with ill-intentioned information technology workers. Read more at thehackernews.com. California IT company leaks private mobile phone data. The Cyber News research team found that DNA Micro, a California-based IT company, exposed the sensitive data of more than 820,000 customers due to a misconfiguration in its systems. Cyber News advises affected users to take the following actions to mitigate the risks. Make sure all available software updates are installed. If the device doesn't support the latest software versions, consider replacing it with a new device. In most cases, IMEI numbers can't be changed, so if the device stops working, or if you are concerned that someone will try to track you through the device should be replaced with a different one. Change your phone number. This is often a simple and free process. Be cautious of new incoming email communications and be wary about opening attachments and links. changing email addresses would be the most effective way of mitigating the risk. Read more at cybernews.com. This week's must-see on my YouTube channel. Humans are still king when it comes to writing convincing phishing emails, but generative AI tools could be making it easier for attackers to automate customized phishing campaigns at scale. Please watch my video on that topic by following the link listed. Did you know there actually aren't 57 varieties of Heinz ketchup, and never were? Company founder H.J. Heinz thought his product should have a number, and he liked 57. The Japanese word kuchi samichi is the act of eating when you're not hungry because your mouth is lonely. Always do the very best, even when no one else is looking. You always are. Don't disappoint yourself, thanks to Colin Powell. Just thought you might want to know. And that's a wrap for this week's Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching and listening. If you're running Windows 11, let me show you how easy it now is to extract text from an image right within Windows 11 and the Snipping tool. Start by opening the Snipping tool. Easiest way is do it through the Start menu and just type Snipping tool and it comes right up. Open up Snipping tool. Next, select the three-dot menu and select Open File. And now select that image from which you want to extract the text. Next, up here, you'll see that little icon that says Text Actions. Select it. Now you have a choice. Quick Redact or Copy All Text. Let's select the Copy All Text. Now that the text has all been copied, let's open up Notepad, or you can also open any other app that accepts text input. Place your cursor where you want to insert it, and you can either do a right click, select Paste, or you can use the shortcut key of Control and V for Victor. And there it is. It's copied all the text. From here, you can now review it. You can edit it, make whatever changes you want to make, but your text from your image has now been saved. Stay safe, stay secure. I hope that helps. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. Great stuff. Good, snipping tool. Excellent. And it's free and it's included in Windows 10 and 11, correct?
11, correct. Yep.
Correct. Okay, great. All right. Well, it's the time in the show when I want to introduce our guest. Now, most of us know Greg as a great guy and a fun person to be with. Greg and I spent a lot of time together of course, in Mesa, Arizona at Silver Ridge Resort. But he's not here as to be a friend. He's here to talk about fire alarms, and he is well qualified to do that. He is you all know he's a fire captain, but he also has trained well over 10,000 employees in setting up their company's safety and emergency response teams. He's first responders training programs all throughout the United States, and he's written well over 250 PowerPoint presentations, as well as having a consulting company and talking internationally on fire safety. So Greg's biggest challenge is today, and that is because I told him he had to tell us everything he knows about fire alarms in 10 minutes. So I don't want to start. So we'll start that. So Greg, I'm gonna put the PowerPoint presentation up and you can just talk about it, okay? And tell me when you want to change the slide. Let me see if I can get it up for you here, okay? Here, I'm gonna do the Now,
Does it show the notes too?
yeah, I think you'll see that. Let me just have a look. Oh, this is the one. There we go. Can you see that?
Yeah, good.
Okay, and we're going to, I'm just turn my video off. And Greg, you just tell me when you want me to change the slide and I'll change it. So go ahead.
Okay, smoke alarms. You can use them in your RV or you can put them in your homes. So this is what this presentation, this is an hour presentation that I cut down for 13 slides. So we ought to be able to get this show on the road and keep on track with our time. Electronic devices are detected at presence of fire. Smoke and the sound that they give off when the alarm is sounding, excuse me, generally consist of one or more sensors: the triggering circuits, the alarm amplifier horn, and the power supply. Next. Now, this is just a picture of a group, and I'm not pushing any smoke alarm or any company. All I'm doing is just showing you the pictures. These are different manufacturers and different photographs of what they have. The reason that I have the middle one in that up on the wall, that's a hardwired sensor. Now, in our house, we have a hard wire, and we did some changes in our house. So the city came by and they made us put in another smoke alarm system right over our doors. And then when we leave, we have ADT system that monitors. So we have a different system in there. And just for your own information, I put one of the smoke alarms under the house. We have our furnace under the house, and I put one in the attic. The different smoke alarm people that put the one in the attic, we changed them really, really quick. Either that or there was a lawsuit because I wouldn't pay them. Their alarms kept activating and the fire department kept coming out. And the fire department told us one more false alarm, they're going to charge us $995 for every piece of equipment that was on the scene for the next smoke alarm. So I put the alarm system company on notice, and they dropped us. So I got another one, and they did the same thing. And then ADT was the only ones that were responsible. And the reason was these things, these smoke alarms all have kind of like a little thermostat inside. And so the one in the attic, it needed to have the temperature over 350 degrees. You know, when fire starts, it starts at 500 degrees. So you're well within the reason. But if you're going to put them in the attic, make darn sure that you get a 350 degree alarm. Next. Okay, the ion sensors and the photo electrical sensors. These are the only ones that are on the market. There are only two, and I'm going to talk about the ion first. Next. This is just a photograph of a general smoke alarm. Next. Okay, this is where it really kind of gets going here. A is the horn. B is the chamber. And I'm going to talk to you in just a second about the chamber. And you can see the battery down there. Those things need to be changed. The fire department in our area recommends that you change them on July the 1st or July the 4th and New Year's Day, 6 months. I just changed, we just came back from Sun Valley at the Jazz Festival, and one of our smoke alarms was activating. It was beep, and a couple of minutes later, beep, and that's an indication that the battery's going down. So I pulled it open and looked at it, and my date on the battery was 1/22. So it's like 1 year and 8 months, 8 or 9 months. So I put the dates on my batteries just so that I can know. Next. Okay, this is your chamber. The black lid of that chamber is off of this thing, and you can see what it looks like. In the photocell is the little light It actually shines in. And up on the top of those little angular items, this is where the heat gets in there and it kind of makes the vortex spin around a little bit. And that's what you really need. And underneath there is a radiation level that they put in there, the isotopes, and a samarium 141. Now, that isotope is less than the rays on the sun. So as long as you're inside, you don't have a problem. And as long as you're outside, you're not going to take a smoke alarm outside. But anyway, it does emit some radiation. Now, up on by where it says radiation chamber, there's that screw. There's a little light. That light is the indication light when you test it. When you put it on, push it on to test it, that light activates and it activates the horn. Next. Now, this is just an indication of a drawing of somebody that's put together this whole thing. Right in the center, you see the little gray dots. That's the smoke. And 5 is where the light is, and 4 is where your radiation comes from. And when those smoke gets and breaks in between the light, that's what activates the sound in this thing. Next. The best detecting is fast, flaming fires like grease fires detect combustible particles at 0.01 to 3 microns. Hair is about 15 to 20 microns. So, well, here it says it's 3 microns. Electricity, I have an electron microscope, and I get to screwing around with it every once in a while. And I kind of thought it was 10, but it says here it's 90. Most of the sensitive is in dark and black smoke. These things will pick up cigarette smoke if you actually can set them that low. Most of them don't do it. They're very sensitive to steam. We had one of them put up, and our daughter got out of the shower one day, and after she was dressed, and she came out, and my God, the alarms all went off. And it was because of the steam, the false alarms. Next. Okay, this is kind of an interesting slide. You can see in A, the negative and positive ions. These activated sounds all work on positive and negative ions. Now, on B, and you can't see the B over there, the radioactive material. If you look at the little thing that's got the plus on it, and it's got the little indication around it like a little cell, those are the smokes that come in. Now, smoke comes in as a negative ion. Fire burns as a negative ion. And what increases fire is air or wind, and that has a positive ion. And that positive ion is what activates this little thing. So it knows how many negative and positive ions are in the chamber normally. And when the smoke gets overfilled with positive and negative ions, it activates the sound. Next. LED sensors of the beam. Infrared lights, the detectors. The detector circuit senses the lights. If it is present, the alarm does not sound. And when those smoke particles scatter in there and reduce the amount of reaction to the detonator, when the amount of light is reduced, the alarm starts sounding. And what that sentence means is when that light get interrupted by those ions and the smoke, then that thing will activate. And if you have not had them activate, they are very, very, very loud. And especially if you're in a commercial building and they activate, the thing that you want to do is stop right there and leave. Get outside as fast as you can. Many, many years ago, down in Las Vegas, they had a smoke alarm that activated. And about 90% of the people left, except the people who were on the crap table. They still wanted to roll and keep going as the fire was rolling over their heads. They actually ran outside, and their hair and their coats were actually on fire, their clothing. Next. This is the photoelectric cell, and it kind of works the same way. You can see the pulsing light. It actually gives off a light, and that light goes and is activated like 60 times a second. It kind of flitters. And when that smoke gets in there and it breaks that beam in the lower picture here, it shows a scattered light. The smoke actually deflects the light, and the light doesn't meet its target, and that's how it activates in those photocells. They're still good. They're just as good as the radiation one. Anyway, they sell both of them. Both of them activated with a battery. Next. Okay, this is where they talk about the placements. This is suggested placements. You can see over this is a park model. Ron's familiar with that. They want you to put one in the kitchen. You can see the light in there, one over the hot water heater in the lower picture. You can see they've got them up over each bedroom on the thing. Now, up in the left-hand corner, there's a dead space. So they want these smoke alarms 18 inches from the corner of on the ceiling or 18 inches below. Well, here they got 12. They've just made the change to 18 inches, but you can keep them there at 12. But there is a dead space on your corners of your walls and your ceiling. Next. Carbon monoxide. Now, this is kind of the tricky thing. While you're reading this, I'm going to talk to you. In these smoke alarms that you can buy them with or without carbon monoxide. Now, when the fire is burning and there's smoke, it does have carbon monoxide. But my point is, when we had our fifth wheel, we put a carbon monoxide poison down on the floor. And we actually did have a natural gas leak in our motorhome, and that thing activated. And that kind of saved our bacon. Anyway, it just talks about when fire burns, it starts at roughly 621 degrees Fahrenheit, or it starts at 550 degrees Fahrenheit. And then when it really gets going, most fire burns at about 1150 degrees or 621 degrees Celsius. Next. Is that the last one? You're muted, Ron.
That's it. That's it. Thanks, Greg.
Okay, I'll take questions afterwards.
You bet. Thanks a lot, Greg. Great. Thanks so much. All right. We're going to move on now, and I have part 2 of my video I made last week. And the video is published now, and it's on our YouTube channel, and it's just one. It's not a part 1 and a part 2. So it is about 18 minutes long. So if you want to use it for any of your clubs or anything like that, you can certainly do that, but it's not in a part 1 or part 2. So here we go. So measuring the pulse with your smartwatch is so important. And this should be a critical decision process in purchasing a watch, because you want to be able to track your pulse and notify you high or low. Now, it was very interesting. After this happened, I went and checked my wife's older Fitbit, and she actually has the atrial, I'm going to talk about atrial fibrillation in a minute. She has the atrial fibrillation monitor, but her old Fitbit doesn't have the high-low pulse notification, which is really critical. So that is something you want to make sure that if you are purchasing a device to wear on your wrist, that it has this high-low pulse notification. It's very easy to do. You don't need to spend a lot of money on your watch for this to happen. It's just it monitors it all the time and will tell you high or low. One of the big changes that has occurred in the past 5 years is the ability of your smartwatch to detect atrial fibrillation. This is a condition where your heart speeds up too fast. If it went up over 140 and you were in atrial fibrillation, if you had one of the cheaper smartwatches, it would just say your heart is going too fast. So with the changes that have occurred over the past 5 years, we now had some very accurate, sophisticated tracking that the more expensive smartwatches will do to identify atrial fibrillation, tell the doctor how long you've been in atrial fibrillation, and what are some of the aggravating and relieving factors for this. It's amazing what this does. And I've made a lot of videos about this, so I'm not going to go over that today. I'll leave the link below for a lot of the videos I've made that more specifically discusses this. But this is something we did not have when I was practicing medicine. This is really a game changer, particularly for seniors, because who wants a stroke, right? So today I want to talk about Fitbit for a moment, and I want to show you how to turn on the atrial fibrillation feature and the maximum and minimum heart rate detection. Now, the incredible thing about Fitbit was when they brought out their software for atrial fibrillation detection and they applied it, it went to all the models, including a lot of the real older models. It had always been there. The sensor was always there to detect this arrhythmia. And it's pretty cool because it's pretty cool because it's available now to a lot of the older Fitbit watches that you probably don't even know that you have it on your watch. And I'm going to show you today how to turn that on in the software, because the software has changed a bit with their recent update. Also, it's very important that you have the feature that has the minimum and maximum heartbeat, where it's going to notify you about that. Now, not all Fitbit watches have that. I was surprised at that, but not all do. So if you are purchasing one, you want to make sure it has that feature. So let me show you how to turn these on in your Fitbit smartwatch. So I'm now going to show you how the high and low heart rate notification and the atrial fibrillation notification is turned on in the Fitbit app. Today we're looking at my Pixel 6 Android phone, and the first thing you need to know is that the Fitbit app on your phone is connected to your smartwatch through Bluetooth. So the first thing that's important is that we make sure that you have the latest and updated Fitbit app. It changed recently, and there's been a bunch of changes in the design of it, so I want to just show you where to find things. So let's go to the Play Store, and what we're going to do is I'm going to type up here Fitbit, and here we go. And what you're going to see here on the screen is it shows that Fitbit LLC is installed actually on all my devices, and it's up to date, because if I click that button it says open. If it was out of date, then it would say install update. So this is where you want to go to make absolutely sure that you have the correct and updated software for your phone. So now let's go to the Fitbit app. I'm going to close that, and we're going to come down here and we're going to open the Fitbit app on my phone. We click this and you'll see that this is the new graphic design that they have, but this isn't where you set up your heart rate notification. So let's come up to the top right. We're going to click on the settings menu, and that's going to bring up this list. And as we go down the list, the first thing at the top is activity and wellness. Let's connect with that. And now what you see is a bunch of options. And what we're going to do is go to heart settings. And here's where we have the two options I've been talking about. There's the high-low heart rate notification and also the irregular rhythm, which is the atrial fibrillation one. So let's have a look and see what this is all about. I'm going to click on the top one, which is the high-low heart rate notification. So what is important for you to understand that you see a top number and a bottom number. Now, get notifications if we detect that your heart rate is outside your high or low heart rate threshold when you appear to be inactive for at least 10 minutes. Now, as we come down here, you'll see that we have heart rate notification, and I have that turned on. This is the high heart rate notification turned on. And we can come down and we can set it. So when we click on custom, so when we turn custom on, we'll come down to threshold, and now we have options for our heart rate. And I'm going to set mine at 140. Let's go back. And the same as I'm not going to go into it in great detail for low heart rate, but it's the same sort of situation. You click custom, okay, and turn it on, and we go to threshold, and I have my threshold set at 60. But you could certainly set it at any of these other lower ones. You have to use one of the preset that's set on your in the app. So once this is done, you will get a notification on your watch and on your phone if your heart rate goes outside those parameters. If it stays in those parameters, it's not going to tell you you're doing good. It's only going to notify you if it goes outside of those parameters. Now, this option is not available on all Fitbit devices. So I think this is clearly an extremely important part of a Fitbit, and I would make sure that the unit I bought had this feature. As I mentioned, it is not on my wife's Fitbit. She has an older one, and I'm soon to be replacing it. All right, let's come down to a regular rhythm, which is here. We're going to click this, and this is, I'll give you more information in a minute, but this is where you turn the feature on or off, and of course mine is turned on. The important thing for you to know that in a Fitbit, it's going to sample your heart rate throughout the day, mostly at night, and it's going to identify you if you have atrial fibrillation. And the cool thing about this is this feature actually is available for a lot of older models. The sensor in the watches was compatible with this new feature. So it's probably there for you to turn on, and I would encourage you to do so. Now, once you turn it on, let's go back to the original menu here. Let's go way back here, and you're going to come down, and you're going to see the first thing here is irregular rhythm notification, and it says it's on and it's checking. So we're going to view history. And here you can see that it last analyzed my heart today, actually at 3:30, which is about an hour ago, and I haven't had any bouts of atrial fibrillation. Now, it also talks a little bit about what atrial fibrillation is. It talks about the basics of atrial fibrillation, why it is challenging to check, and so on and so forth. So this is a good resource center for you to look at all the features here. But the really big thing I want you to look at is this app on your phone with this feature is available for a lot of the older models, and you should turn it on. This is so important because, hey, you don't have to go and spend a whole bunch of money. It's there. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Hopefully. All right. Hewie, you're up.
A comprehensive guide to Google Voice. Google Voice is a free telecommunications service that provides a phone number for making and receiving calls, text messages, and voicemail. It also offers a variety of other features, such as call forwarding, voicemail transcription, and spam filtering. Google Voice is available in the United States and Canada. To use Google Voice, you must have a Google account. You can get a Google Voice number for free, or you can port your existing phone number to Google Voice. Getting started with Google Voice. To get started with Google Voice, simply create a Google account and go to the Google Voice website. Once you are logged in, you can create a new Google Voice number or port your existing phone number to Google Voice. If you are creating a new Google Voice number, you will need to choose a phone number from a list of available numbers. You can also choose a custom voicemail greeting. If you are porting your existing phone number to Google Voice, you will need to provide your current phone number and account information. It can take up to 24 hours to port your phone number to Google Voice. Once you have a Google Voice number, you can start using it to make and receive calls, text messages, and voicemail. You can also use Google Voice to manage your contacts, block spam calls, and forward calls to other numbers. Using Google Voice to make and receive calls. To make a call using Google Voice, you can use the Google Voice app on your smartphone or tablet, or you can use the Google Voice website on your computer. To make a call using the Google Voice app, open the app and tap the Dial button. Then, enter the phone number you want to call and tap the Call button. To make a call using the Google Voice website, go to the Google Voice website and sign into your Google account. Then, click the Dial button and enter the phone number you want to call. To receive a call using Google Voice, your Google Voice number will be displayed on the caller ID. You can answer the call using the Google Voice app on your smartphone or tablet, or you can answer the call using the Google Voice website on your computer. Using Google Voice to send and receive text messages. To send a text message using Google Voice, you can use the Google Voice app on your smartphone or tablet, or you can use the Google Voice website on your computer. To send a text message using the Google Voice app, open the app and tap the Compose button. Then, enter the phone number you want to send the message to and type your message. Tap the Send button to send the message. To send a text message using the Google Voice website, go to the Google Voice website and sign into your Google account. Then, click the Compose button and enter the phone number you want to send the message to. Type your message and click the Send button to send the message. Using Google Voice voicemail. When you receive a voicemail on Google Voice, you will receive a notification email with a link to the voicemail. You can also listen to your voicemail by calling your Google Voice number and following the prompts. To transcribe your voicemail, click the Transcribe button next to the voicemail message. Google Voice will transcribe the voicemail message and display the transcript in a text box. Other Google Voice features. Google Voice offers a variety of other features, such as call forwarding. You can forward calls to your cell phone, landline phone, or another Google Voice number. Spam filtering. You can block spam calls and text messages. Custom voicemail greetings. You can create different voicemail greetings for different callers. Call recording. You can record incoming and outgoing calls. Voicemail transcription. Google Voice can transcribe your voicemail messages and display the transcripts in a text box. Conclusion. Google Voice is a powerful and versatile telecommunication service that offers a variety of features for both individuals and businesses. If you are looking for a free and easy-to-use way to make and receive calls, text messages, and voicemail, Google Voice is a great option.
I've been using Google Voice for years. Before I go to the next, let me just delete a couple of things here on my screen. Maybe that'll help the choppiness. Try again. How to reset your iPhone to factory settings. I'm Hewie Poplock. Getting a brand new iPhone is fun, from discovering its cool features to snapping that first pic. But before you get too excited, make sure you back up your old phone and reset it to its factory settings to remove your personal information. Not sure how? Don't worry, I'll show you. Here are answers to frequently asked questions on how to restore your iPhone to factory settings and tips for resetting your device without losing important data. Why would you need to factory reset your iPhone? Restoring your iPhone to its default settings means starting from scratch. Doing so is important to protect your personal information, especially in the following scenarios. 1. You want to sell your iPhone or trade it in for a new device. 2. You want to give your iPhone to a family member or friend. 3. You need to troubleshoot your device for a performance issue like a frozen screen or poor audio, or you forgot your passcode.
I only recommend this as a last resort after you've tried everything else. Does a factory reset erase everything off your iPhone? A factory reset on your iPhone will erase nearly all the data on your device. That's why it's important to make sure you're prepared to take such a big step. What a factory reset deletes from your iPhone: 1. Contacts. 2. Photos and videos. 3. Music. 4. Passwords and files. 5. Accounts. 6. Messages. What should I do before I reset my iPhone? Before you restore your iPhone to its factory settings, there are 5 important steps to take to make sure you don't lose your existing data. 1. Back up your data to iCloud or a different secure location. The first thing you should do is back up your phone. Transferring your information to a new device or uploading it to iCloud will ensure you don't lose everything during a factory reset. 2. Plug in your iPhone and connect it to a secure Wi-Fi network. It's best to save your files over a secure Wi-Fi connection so you don't use up a lot of mobile data during the transfer. Once the backup is complete, you'll be able to move your settings and information to your new device. 3. Know your Apple ID and other login information. Before you reset your iPhone, make sure you know your login information. Your Apple ID and password will let you access data stored in iCloud across your devices. You can typically find your Apple ID in Settings. 4. Unpair your iPhone from third-party devices and sign out of all accounts. A few additional steps you'll want to take to ensure all your personal info is removed from your device. 1. Unpair or disconnect Bluetooth devices like your smartwatch or wireless headphones. 2. Sign out of all your apps, services, and email accounts. 3. Make sure to turn off Find My iPhone. 4. Delete your cards from your mobile wallet. 5. Sign out of your iPhone. After backing up your data and completing the checklist above, don't forget to sign out of your iPhone too. Although a factory reset removes all of the information you've stored on your device, this will ensure no one can access your account after you sell or trade in your iPhone. How to factory reset your iPhone. There are a few different ways to reset your iPhone, but the easiest one is through Settings. 1. Open Settings, then tap General and Reset. Tap Erase all content and settings. 2. You may have to enter your passcode or Apple ID and password to confirm your decision. 3. Follow the prompts. 4. Then tap Erase iPhone. Your iPhone screen will go dark, and then you may have to wait a few minutes for it to fully erase. When you see the device turn back on, the factory reset will be complete. If you'd now like to put your information back on your device, check out a guide to how to restore your iPhone from a backup. How to factory reset your iPhone without the passcode. Forgot your iPhone's passcode? We've all been there. But be careful. If you enter the numbers incorrectly too many times, the device will be disabled and you'll be forced to complete a factory reset just to unlock it. For iPhone 8 and later models, it is recommended to doing the following. To reset a locked iPhone. 1. Turn your phone off and plug it into a computer. 2. Press and release the volume up, press and release volume down, then press and hold the side button. 3. Keep holding down the button until you see the recovery mode screen. 4. Depending on your computer, open either Finder or iTunes. 5. Locate your device on the computer. 5. When you see a message that says the iPhone needs to be updated or restored, choose Restore. Then select Restore again to confirm. 6. Keep your phone connected to your computer until the process is complete. If you've backed up your iPhone before you got locked out, you should be able to restore your data. If you didn't back up your iPhone, your data won't be saved. Protect your phone. And smartphones are no exception. This is part of a series, How to Dispose of Your Old Tech Responsibly. I'm Hewie Poplock.
Okay, thanks, Hewie. Excuse me. Ray, are you ready to roll? I'm just going to say goodbye to our friends over on YouTube. We will be ending the broadcast for YouTube now. You can pop over if you want to participate in the Q&A. We'll into our Zoom meeting. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. All right, Ray, take it away.
All right, now today a little bit of a change of pace, and this is going out to all of our attendees who are jazz fans, including Greg, who gave a nice presentation today. And this past weekend, he was actually at a jazz festival. So ℍ𝕠𝕟, she's a jazz visionary. Now, the following, within quotation marks, was provided by Google Bard. Quote, ℍ𝕠𝕟, born Lovella Mae Borg on May 11, 1936, was an American jazz composer, pianist, organist, and bandleader. An important figure in the free jazz movement of the 1960s, she was perhaps best known for her jazz opera Escalator Over the Hill that was released as a triple LP set, as well as a book of compositions that have been performed by many other artists, including Gary Burton, Jimmy Guthrie, George Russell, Art Farmer, John Scofield, and her ex-husband, Paul Bley. She was a pioneer in the development of independent, artist-owned record labels, and recorded over 24 albums between 1966 and 2019. Now, Bley was born in Oakland, California, began playing piano at a young age, was self-taught as a composer, and her early influences included Thelonious Monk, Eric Satie, and Miles Davis. She moved to New York City in the late 1950s and quickly became involved in the city's vibrant jazz scene. Bley's music is characterized by its eclecticism, humor, and emotional depth. She drew inspiration from a wide range of sources, including classical music, folk music, and rock music. Her compositions are often complex and challenging, but they are also deeply rewarding. Bley was a prolific composer, and her work has been performed by many of the leading jazz musicians of her generation. Also a highly respected band leader, and her live performances were known for their energy and intensity. Bley was a true pioneer in the world of jazz. She was one of the few female composers in the genre, and she helped to break down barriers for other women musicians. She was also a tireless advocate for independent artists, and she helped to create a space for them to thrive. Bley was a unique and visionary figure in the world of jazz. Her music will continue to be enjoyed and admired by generations of listeners to come, unquote. Now, while Carla Bley is not a household name outside of the world of jazz, as the above commentary indicates, she was an important figure in the jazz movement of the 1960s and opened the door for women in jazz. In 2018, ℸ was diagnosed with brain cancer, from which she died at her home in Willow, New York on October 17, 2023, at the age of 87. So today's edited clip is from the 2013. It includes Rutger Kraus on guitar and Steve Swallow on bass with Carla on piano. Carla Bley, very, very important for women in jazz.
Thank you, Ray. Thanks so much. All right. We will be entering now into our Q&A. I want to thank you if you have to leave. Thank you so much for coming. We do appreciate your support. And don't forget, the premiere version will be starting in about half an hour. We have 3 sessions for you today. We have, of course, Ray's going to talk about Type-C charging cord or Type-C cords. I'm going to talk about what every snowbird needs to know. And Hewie's going to tell you how to put those streaming services on your TV, all at 1/2 And I put the link in the Amazon. I put the link on in the chat. Now, we had a big program today with lots of really interesting stuff, from fire detection to all the different things that we've talked about. So I'm sure there's lots of questions. I did want to just briefly give one of the common questions I get asked all the time is about what smartwatch should I buy. So I just wanted to take 5 minutes and give you my quick 5-minute synopsis of what I would recommend. The first thing is when you buy if you're looking for a health app to go with your for your watches, I would sort of purchase it depending on what phone you have. For example, if you have an iPhone, then of course one of the best smartwatches with the most advanced cardiac monitoring now, of course, is the Apple Watch. And that would be certainly a suggestion I have if you have an iPhone. If you have a Samsung phone, they of course make the Galaxy Watch, which is pretty good, but you have to be careful with that because the Galaxy Watch, the health app only works with Galaxy phones, and not all Samsung phones work with that watch. So you have to be careful with that. And before if you're interested in the health application, you better make sure that you have a Samsung phone that is compatible with the watch. Then, of course, we have the new Pixel watches, which are out now. Again, some of the applications on the Pixel watch are more specific to people who have Pixel phones. Now, the one thing that is universal, that works on all phones, is of course Fitbit, and that is probably the most popular device that is sold today, and it's Fitbit. And so now I have the Fitbit Sense, which I wear, and my wife has a Versa, the original Versa. Now, with my video that I just made, I talked about maximum minimum heart rate and an atrial fibrillation notification. And for that, I would recommend a new one that's come out. It's actually a tracker. It's called the Charge 6. It's made by Fitbit. It has all those features and has some extra special cardiac monitoring features, which I think will be better, which we'll see new software coming out later this year for those features. And it's $159 in the US on Amazon. You don't have to spend a huge amount of money for one of the full featured, like the Fitbit Sense, which is more money. All those features are available on that device, and I put it in the chat. All right, that's a quick and dirty sort of summary of my advice for monitoring watches. I'm open to any questions as well. Carl, go ahead.
Yeah, I saw an ad for it's called Fitness Watch, FITNUS, and I sent you the information on it. And I sent it to one of your extinct phones that you had in the States, and then I sent it to another phone that was in your contacts. But I suspect you didn't get it because it's probably not a mobile phone. But the brand is called FITNUS. And it was regular $99 on sale for $59, and it has an arm's length of benefits. And I thought it'd be curious to get your opinion on it. I'm not, advertising it or anything like that.
So that's a good question.
A guru in those things.
Right. So Carl, that's a very good question. Now, in my video I just played, there's three things that you need. One is the minimum and maximum heart rate, which any $10 watch can do. It's not really difficult to detect your heart rate and to tell you if it's going too fast or too slow. That's a very simple one, and a lot of watches will do that. The tricky one is the irregular heart rate detection, which is really the atrial fibrillation part of that. And in order to actually get that to work, you have to have FDA approve it and submit studies and prove that this because it's a medical device and this actually works. And to answer that question, Apple has done that, Fitbit's done that, Google has done that, and Samsung has done that. Other than those companies, anything you're buying is not approved by the FDA in the United States. And the reason that they have this set up is for your benefit and safety, right? Because you can certainly buy a watch from China that will propose, maybe it will say it's going to do that, but in fact, this is your life, your health. You want to make darn sure that it's going to work. And to do that, you have to be certified. And that's the only question I would have about that. It's not certified, and I have no idea if it's valid or not. So that would be my comment on that.
Yeah, I had one other question, and it was for Greg on the smoke detectors. I put it in a lengthy question. I put it in the chat, and I don't need to discuss it further because I see there's a couple other hands and we don't have a lot of time left. But basically, it has the two annoying things that bothered me for many years. One is when you have to replace a battery on your smoke detector, it beeps. I've got 9 detectors in my house. I'm going around. It's on which room. You know, you're closing doors. You're trying to figure out which damn detector is saying replace the battery. And then the other is that all my detectors are wired interlinked. So if there's a little something goes off in whatever, my kitchen or something, it sets them all off. I don't have an alarm in the kitchen. I don't think they're allowed. But whatever that I'm cooking causes off in either the dining room, living room, or the hall, or a stair. So I don't know which of the interlinked ones is causing it to go off. And my question to Greg is, what about the manufacturers making a simple addition to the alarms that when it goes off, there's a blinking light that tells you this is the offending or alerting detector, and making it easier to find. Now, I've experimented and I've been able to do it with a diode, but it's not, when I do it, it's hard to put the darn thing back together. So Greg can answer that at whatever time or next week. Thank you.
That's probably something you should ask the manufacturer, not Greg.
No, it has to do with the associations requiring the detectors to make it, not the manufacturers. Fire associations will do that standard.
Greg, you're muted.
Maybe Greg has some influence or something he would want to champion, because I brought it up here to other fire marshals and they say, oh, that's a good idea, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, well, you've got a couple of things I'm going to talk about for you real quick. The manufacturers make these things as simple as they can. They don't want to put any money in them, number one. About your batteries, it's a good idea to change them all at one time instead of one time.
Greg, that's a great commercial for battery manufacturers. I have some batteries that are up there 3 years and they're still working. So changing them every season, twice a year. If I'm a battery manufacturer, I love you to do it twice a year. Change all 10 detectors every 6 months.
I change mine once a year.
Not needed. The system alerts you when you need to be changed.
Yeah, well, why have it alert you? Why don't you just change it?
Why not have a light that tells you which one needs to be changed? Blinks. You don't have to add another light, the light that's there. All you have to do is get it to blink. I get it to blink, but the problem is it blinks just as long as the beep, which isn't very long.
We've got a couple more questions just before we finish. Jim, did you have a question?
Yeah, do any of these watches besides the Apple Watch have a fall detector?
Yes, they fall detection Fall detection is available on the Apple Watch, the Galaxy Watch, and also the not the Fitbit, but the Pixel. The Pixel Watch also does fall detection.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Bernard, go ahead.
Bernard, you're muted.
Yes, my question is geared toward Greg. Do you know anything about smoke detectors that talk to each other?
No.
Okay, I used to have smoke detectors in my house that tell me when a certain fire is started in a certain room, and I can't find them any longer.
They were kind of outlawed, and they quit manufacturing them almost 10 years ago.
Okay, thank you.
Hewie, go ahead.
Yeah, two things concerning Greg's great presentation. One, I had a fire in my condo back in 2006, and it was a two-story, and I was downstairs watching TV. Luckily, I was home, and one of the alarms went off upstairs, and I thought it was just a false alarm. I went upstairs, and when I saw smoke coming out of one of the air conditioning ducts, I figured that I was in trouble and needed to get out of the house. And ended up, I was out of it for 6 months while they restored my unit. So they work, but you got to make sure the batteries are up to date. So for the price of a battery, it's not worth the problem of changing it once a year. The other thing is, I know some people just this past week, their carbon monoxide alarm went off. And they said, it's got to be a false alarm. We don't have anything here that really would make that happen. And but they got out and the fire department came, and sure enough, it was their furnace caused it. And if they'd stayed in the house, they could have died. So they work too. So those are two things that you should have in your house.
Can I just respond to this? Carbon monoxide is heavier than air, so it's going to lay on the floor. And if they had one of those smoke detectors with a carbon monoxide up in the ceiling, not good, Coach, not good.
Right, good point.
Yeah, no, they had a different alarm for the carbon monoxide.
Good for them.
Yeah, Joel, go ahead.
Yeah, let me turn that back on. Smoke detectors. One point that I think it may be in your longer presentation, I believe they run out of life in about 10 years, just doing nothing. The ionization just wears out. And I was told you have to replace them every 10 years, even if you've had perfectly good luck. On my house, by code, the smoke detectors are hardwired with a battery backup. When the AC power is on, they talk to one another in the sense that if one trips, they all sound. I believe, though, if the battery dies, only one chirps. That's what I found with my Kitty brand smoke detectors. So I'm not having the problem that Carl mentioned. It's a feature that you should be able to find in the instruction manual. Only the one that's out of battery chirps, at least in mine. When they sound due to detection, they all go off due to the red wire. So that's my experience, and I believe, at least in some brands, that's the way I believe it works. Thank you.
That's true, but trying to figure out which one when it sounds, I have to. It only beeps for a split second, and you have 2 or 3 in the area. Even in the bedroom, I don't know which bedroom. I hear it beeping upstairs, but I don't know which room.
Okay.
I have to agree with you.
Let me get in here and talk for a second. On the battery operated, they recommend you change them every 5 years. On the hardwired, if they start chirping, the reason is because they haven't been cleaned, and it's really almost impossible to clean them. The dust gets up in there with the household vapors and stuff. I'm done.
Okay, Dick, comment?
Yes. How does the Fitbit Sense tell you if you have an irregular heartbeat? Is it a sound? Is it a vibration?
It's a notification that you get, and it'll either come to your watch, there'll be a notification on your watch, or there'll be a notification on the app on your phone. So, and it will, however you have notifications set up to ring or whatever it is on your phone, how you manage notifications, it will notify you.
Thank you.
Just before Jim has the final question, I had one final question for Greg. My wife, when she cooked, this is not a criticism of her cooking, but the fire alarm always goes off. So my question is, if the batteries are okay and your fire alarm keeps going off, does that hurt the fire alarm? In other words, even though the batteries, are okay, is that a problem if it keeps going off?
No, you might want to replace it. It might be set too sensitive, or is it on the ceiling? If it is, you might move it back maybe 8 or 10 feet. Let the evacuation hoods take out her smoke stuff.
Okay. All right. Greg.
Well, she's not burning food.
Yeah. Jim, one last quick comment before we go.
Yeah, well, I have smoke detectors that have they say it's a 10-year battery.
Right.
So since they die at 10 years anyway, that way you don't have to keep replacing batteries until it finally says I'm dead.
Right. And my kitty ones that I just put in last year have a 10-year non-replaceable battery. You can't replace the battery in them. Once the batteries go, you have to replace the unit. So I think that's the way we're going, so that we don't have to be worried about replacing batteries. It's just there for 10 years.
I want to replace the batteries. I want to replace the batteries in mine, and I had to pull it all apart, and then I saw that it was wired.
Yep. All right. Listen, I want to thank everyone for coming today. I want to thank all our great speakers. We had a really good time. Thank you, Greg, so much for all the work you did today, and thank you for answering the questions. I hope to have Greg back in the not too distant future to talk about fire extinguishers. I think that'd be a great talk about the different types of fire extinguishers. So look forward to another talk from Greg. And Hewie, thank you so much. We'll see you again shortly. Ray, We'll see you on Thursday. Thanks again for your music. Bob, thanks again for your security. And everyone, have a great week. And don't forget, premiere service in I guess about 5 minutes from now.
5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and you'll see the great videos we have for you. So until we see you again, either on Thursday or next Monday, have a great week. Bye-bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.